A lot of people are saying Styx, surprisingly. Okay, I guess we can do Styx. So we haven't covered Styx in a while. I actually think the last time we covered him was when he did a video response to me that I did a response to in return. He said really dumb stuff, and I'm pretty sure I'm smarter than him. So, let's see what dumb thing he has today. Although Altered Rin did send a very cute picture of this doggo. What a cute doggo. Ario is the name of this doggo. Cute. Alright, let's see what Styx is mad about today. Something about Mitch McConnell, which I get. Mitch McConnell's an asshole, but I'm gonna assume the reasons he doesn't like Mitch McConnell are probably not the same reasons I don't like Mitch McConnell, so let's hear him out.
Alright everyone, there is now a concerted effort within the Republican Party to oversee the departure of Mitch McConnell in his role as their leader in the Senate. I support this, and not least wise because I trust Trump's judgment when he looks at him and calls him a broken down old...
Really? I find it interesting that anyone would trust Trump's judgment at this point, since he lost the popular vote twice, lost the election, got impeached twice, paid a porn star hush money to fuck her, all sorts of stuff. I just feel like there's a list of things that would maybe preclude you trusting the man, but hey, whatever. It's you. Do you. Nick says, to celebrate a bunch of birthdays, let's just do anti-coomers today. Oh my god, no. That sounds terrible. Although John is on the list, so he's a pretty big advocate of that, so.
Old crow, which, by the way, is hilarious as well. Very mimetic. And there's a cat hair floating around everywhere here. It can't be helped because cats. But Mitch McConnell, he's a sleazy politician. He is a rhino, but he's a strategically minded rhino.
He's not a rhino. He's literally been the Republican, Senate leader every time they've taken control of the Senate, or the minority leader in the Senate for a really long time. If he's a rhino, then almost no Republican is a real Republican. Doesn't really make sense. Sky Comet Fallen says, F Moscow Mitch, give him the boot.
I know the one good thing about Mitch McConnell, and he was very helpful with Trump, for Trump on this issue, is procedural in nature. Ramming through court justices and nominees and so forth. Biden still has problems filling those slots. I like how he was talking about, oh, you got like 46 judges put in the other day, and it's so great. Yeah, because Ted Cruz cucked. Effectively, he should be kicked out too. Another reason I would never vote for him.
Anyone who votes against my personal interest is a cuck. Mike Max with an Instagram link says, found the perfect gift for call. Oh my god. Funny.
You don't need a spineless president. That would be a bad idea. That would be like going back to the Bush days or something like that.
Yes, so spineless Bush was able to commit countless war crimes. What a lack of spine. I wouldn't describe that as spineless. I'd describe it as other things, but do you?
Ronald Reagan after he became senile. Hey, let's get Herbert Walker back in there. What a great job. That skeleton could do a better job, by the way, than Biden anyway, would than Ted Cruz. Mitch McConnell, though, at the end of the day, is a backstabber. Apparently didn't remember where his meal ticket was coming from. His relationship with Trump was very tenuous, and now how can you have a leader of the Senate, in a presumably Republican Senate, when you'll likely have a president who'll be at odds with him? Doesn't even make sense. Procedural be damned. Okay, the Senate can still function in the sense of appointing, ramming...
Is Styx just assuming that both McConnell and Trump will not only both be alive in 2024, they're both old guys and not the healthiest, and secondly, that Trump will definitely win in 2024. Now, I'm not saying that's not the case. I've seen people in my own chat and stuff that I disagree with who are like, yeah, run Trump again and he'll lose again. 80 million people voted for him last time, guys, or 60 million, I don't remember the exact number. No, 80 million was the fake number QAnon people came up with, sorry. I think he was in the high 60 million or something. Too many people voted for him. Anyone who thinks Trump couldn't win in 2024 is deluding themselves the same way people were in 2020 when they're like, no way Trump wins. So, No, it's possible, but I also don't think it's fair to say he will definitely win, especially considering he's been alienating some of his conspiracy-minded audience by talking about him getting himself the booster shots and promoting vaccines and stuff. He hasn't been promoting vax mandates, however, he has been saying, you know, I took the vax and whatnot, which a lot of QAnon people don't like. Now, is the majority of Republicans QAnon? No, the majority of them are not. However, are enough of them of that persuasion that it could keep him from winning? I don't know, maybe, if it was a tight margin. So I don't know. We would have to see who the Dems run in 2024 if Biden does actually try and run again, which I think would be stupid. He was too old to run the first time. I really don't want him to run again, and Kamala isn't likable. Not to mention the fact that a lot of people in America don't like the idea of a woman as president, and she's not white, which unfortunately a lot of people in America are racist, and those are just aesthetic issues, not actual issues in her policy, which there are. The point I'm trying to make is this. It's possible Trump will become president in 2024, but it's also quite possible he will not, due to a variety of factors. Assuming that he would is kind of silly. Hydrate. Here's a fun clip of Benny Boy, says Tube Man.
You are supposed to just mirror the perspective of the article. You're supposed to mirror the idea that this person used to be a woman and is now a man. So over the weekend, I was rereading 1984. And you are supposed to just mirror...
1984 literally said the 2 minutes of worshiping girl cock. True facts. Tube Man says, yeah, I think Trump will win a 49-state landslide. Do you wear a beanie often? I think I recognize you. When is a candidate not being likable stopped the DNC? Oh, I know. I would find it decently likely that they'll push for a Kamala ticket if Biden doesn't choose to run again. And I think that would be a huge mistake. But the Democrats are really good at making mistakes. Or mistakes on behalf of their donors. Would it be cool with Bernie running again? I would prefer him find someone that he likes a lot and who shares a lot of his positions and then backing that person, campaigning with that person. I like Bernie, but I do not want people this old being the president. I just don't. Even though I agree with Bernie, he's too old. He's too fucking old. He just is. Find someone else. Marcus Drake with 50 bits says, if we're going to run a black woman and risk backlash, at least run Barbara Lee, not Harris, and then that catches us up. AOC 2024, no, you should wait for that. AOC is toxic to a lot of America because they see her as a radical. So you need to wait another 15 to 20 years, assuming she's still in politics that long. I hope she is. Let the older people kind of filter out of the electorate via natural death. And then when younger people who are more comfortable with left-leaning ideas become more and more part of the electorate, then I think she's a good choice. But running her in 2024 would be foolish, in my opinion. It would be very, very foolish.
Through nominees.
Buttigieg might be a thing, yeah. That wouldn't surprise me. They've pushed him pretty hard, too.
And stuff, but what else will you accomplish? And by the way, how old is Mitch McConnell? He's had all sorts of health issues. Do you remember?
Let me see. Mitch McConnell. Oops. Mitch McConnell, born in 1942. He's 79 years old, which I think makes him only a little older than Donald Trump. Something like that. Around the same age as Biden. Our country is run by geriatrics. Oh my god, I hate this country. Welcome to the geriocracy. Meek with 45 bits says, if AOC had the nomination, she'd probably win. You underestimate how easily mainline Dems fall in line, especially if Obama and Biden endorsed her. If you say so, I do not believe the DNC would allow her to become the nominee, though. They just wouldn't do it. They would do everything in their power to... They would... And again, I'm not the kind of person who is like, the election was stolen from Bernie. I really don't think that. But I do think the corporate media definitely paints like candidates like Biden and Bernie in very different lights because corporate media is run by billionaires, and they do not want someone like Bernie Sanders to be the president. And let me be clear, I don't even think Bernie Sanders would be that effective. Like, you'd still have to deal with Congress, who are not as left-leaning as Bernie, so I don't think he'd get a lot done, but I still don't think anyone in the establishment wants someone like Bernie Sanders or AOC to have that big of a platform as the executive branch allows, because it would allow progressive, leftist, or at least left-leaning ideas to actually get out to a decent number of Americans in a platform that they can understand, which is, you know, the president speaking. So, I don't know. I guess we'll see what happens, but don't hold your breath for a candidate you like in 2024. Sorry. Ice Queen says, Bernie's biggest problem was refusing to join the Democratic Party. It pissed a lot of people like me off. I don't think that's the case.
Remember, it was earlier this year he came.
Sky Comet Fallen says, I'm convinced is a 500-year-old vampire of the Nosferatu vampire clan. Think of it. Have you ever seen him outside in daylight? Too long didn't read. New conspiracy theory, Mitch is a vampire. I don't think Mitch McConnell is attractive enough to be a vampire. Vampires are generally sexy. You know, like Nosferatu.
Came out, his hands were all bandaged and bruised and shit, and we never did get a full explanation of what the hell happened. The dude's not in the greatest of health. He's old. He's outlived his usefulness. I hate to tell you this, but at some point, you know, you should probably fucking just retire. And if the Republicans don't want him, of course he won't be in that role. I mean, McCarthy, he's having potential problems as well within this same schism. It would be better to have a populist leading the Senate. It would be better to have Rand Paul, honestly. Although,
oh my God. Oh, I'm going to wake up in a cold sweat tonight with that thought.
The funny part is, Trump probably would put Ted Cruz in there. I would oppose it. I think that'd be a bad idea. Although, again, the procedural side of it...
Hydrate.
As far as negotiating and getting your way by reading through the rule books over and over again, you could do worse than Cruz and be better than Mitch McConnell. At least he pretends to like Trump. I think that it's one of the...
It's very important for Congress to pretend to like the president that's of their party. They're separate branches for a reason, dude. No. Loyalty is not the name of the game necessarily within electoral politics. We have 3 separate branches for a reason. They're not supposed to just be loyal to each other. They're supposed to serve their own roles faithfully.
Those situations where it's like an Ann Coulter thing, where it's a very fair-weathered, tenuous friendship. Mitch McConnell doesn't even make any pretense anymore. I have no doubt, by the way, that behind closed doors, Mitch McConnell was having aides leak things from the White House and concoct stories. I think Mitch McConnell was more...
It wouldn't surprise me. Donald Trump is, like, really, really toxic to the Republican brand for younger people. I get older people like Trump for some reason. It's probably the lead poisoning. But younger people, they're like me. Think about this. Seriously. The Republican presidents that have been in office my life have been George W. Bush and Donald Trump. And those are my perceptions of Republican presidents. And then if I look back historically, we have the first George Bush, we have Reagan, we have Nixon. The Republican brand does not look very appealing to people who aren't, dog shit. Nick says he cares about a country he fucking left. I know, he doesn't even live in the United States. It's really funny.
More likely
Trump or DeSantis in 2024? It might be Trump DeSantis 2024, honestly. Good lord. Oh, that'll be bad. I'm not looking forward to the next electoral season. It's conflicting, honestly, because I get incredibly stressed out during election season, which in the United States is like all the time. It's like, feels like most of the time is election season, but it's also part of my job, and normally views go up during election season, so it's good for me professionally. Personally, it is incredibly damaging to my psyche. I picked a weird job.
the source of some of that than the Democrats were. because he basically is a Democrat who looks like Yertle the goddamn turtle. Procedural genius. Strategically, though, while I would have said years ago, okay, strategically he does pretty well as the Republican leader in the Senate, that sort of falls through because he burned all bridges with Trump, and now Trump is trolling him every day and calling for his ouster. Well, I would side with Trump on that. McConnell's been in the Senate for quite some time. He's been leading the Republicans for quite some time. Ultimately, there's not a whole lot to show for it.
Yeah, that's his whole thing. Mitch McConnell's whole job for his entire tenure has been stopping legislation from happening that is in any way positive. The only thing Mitch McConnell wants is tax cuts for the wealthy and corporations. That is what he has been paid to do, Styx.
I do believe that he did very, very little to muzzle the Republicans when they were standing in the way of Trump's agenda. An agenda that at first you had the votes. You had the votes. You had the capability strategically to get things through. You had the ability to pass things that were popular, like, hey, let's defend the border. That's a popular suggestion.
I don't believe spending billions and billions and billions of dollars on a useless border wall is a popular position. Marcus Drake says, not a whole lot to show for it, looks at Supreme Court. Oh yeah, that too. Federalist judges. Woo! Thanks, Federalist Society. I don't hate you at all.
It's not unpopular, the idea that you should have a fully functioning southern border in the United States.
The United States has one of the longest contiguous borders on the planet. This is a natural result of the geography of the country in which we live. I do not care if people from Mexico want to come to the United States or other people from Central America or anywhere else. I just don't care. I really don't. I don't care. I do not care. It is not a problem for me, and I know it's not a problem for, like, most of my audience.
Tax relief was popular. What did Mitch McConnell do when the legacy media and big tech kept pushing Big Lie 1.0, which was the tax breaks are only going to help the millionaires and billionaires?
They did, because the tax breaks in that bill explicitly were set to expire for the middle class in 2021, which they did, but the tax breaks that were there for wealthy and corporations were indefinite. That was the entire point of the bill, is to give people tax breaks up until 2021. That way, if they lost, then they weren't going to renew the bill, thus making it look like under Republicans the middle class pays less taxes, but then when Democrats get in, it makes you go, my tax bill's bigger this year and I'm not paying attention to literally anything. It must be Biden who raised my taxes, even though it's because the bill originally had expiration dates on those tax cuts. It's a fucking shell game. They're conning people, you idiot.
Millionaires. Well, that was never true. Why is it that McConnell didn't speak out against these things? Even Cruz did. McConnell? No, he's too busy with his books and papers. He's an on-paper sort of person. He's also anti-charismatic. And I had my misgivings about Mitch McConnell some time ago. There's the same thing as I warn people about Ted Cruz. I can read him like a book. He's an opportunist.
You think that's an insightful observation about Ted Cruz? There's a whole meme about Ted Cruz being one of the most infamous serial killers of all time. That meme exists for a reason. He's a slime ball.
Now, an opportunist is great if you can ram through the Trump agenda, which potentially begins again in 2024, or at least a populist agenda. Tear up the COVID passport bullshit and the lockdown travel restriction shit and Biden's forthcoming tax cuts for the super wealthy in blue states and the world policing stuff. If you can shove that aside,
did he just say Biden was going to cut taxes for the wealthy? And he said that it's a bad thing, even though that's literally the major piece of legislation that happened under the Trump administration. Roblox. I'm going to Roblox. Sky Comet Fallen says, is there a cabal running the world? Mitch is definitely their middleman. Or if there is. Nick says, should have warned us about Ted Cruz before he did all the Zodiac killings. Stone Corbell says he said in blue states. Yeah, I don't even know what the fuck he means by that one.
Using an opportunist who's just tactically skilled to do so because they're self-serving and they think it'll benefit them. That's great. The problem is the second they think it'll make them more money or get them more votes, screwing you and stabbing you in the back, that's what they'll do. And Mitch McConnell has done that multiple times. There are now multiple Republicans calling for him not to be the leader in the Senate. It should be all.
There are also multiple people calling for Nancy Pelosi to be replaced, which has been happening for a long time. There are always people within their parties that are going to want the speaker or leader changed. It's going to happen. I don't think Mitch McConnell's going to get removed until he decides to retire. I just don't foresee it. There are so many establishment Republicans still in the Senate. I just don't see it happening.
All the Republicans. They should already be tired of him. Keep him on through the midterms and kick him.
Oh, he's referring to the SALT exemption that allows you to discount state taxes from federal income. Genius.
Him aside like a piece of trash.
So basically, Styx is mad because taxes in successful blue states like California, which bring way more money into the American economy than any other red state. The closest would be Texas, but even then, they're not quite as big of an economy as California yet. Because California has a higher tax rate, he's saying it's going to cut taxes more so for people living in California. Yeah, that'd be because their tax rate in the state of California is higher. He's dumb!
Because fundamentally, that's what Turtle Man really is. That's about all. Peace out.
Well, that's the end of the video? Wow, that was very sudden. Alright, as per usual with Styx videos, I don't know why anyone listens to him. If you know anything about anything, he comes off as very, very dumb, and like he doesn't know what he's talking about, which doesn't surprise me. He doesn't even actually live in the United States, and hasn't for a long time. So I don't know why he continues to talk about American politics. Kinda weird. Let's move on. Kitty cleanse. Let's pet this kitty. Thanks, kitty.